Hello.
Hello.
Oh God. Yes, we're
I said hello.
we're we're doing something slightly different. So you may be aware we've done a lot of reviews of stuff, and the general consensus was that the stuff we reviewed we didn't much like on the whole, really. Some bright spots here and there.
Yeah, well, I mean, not helped by the fact that you don't really like Star Wars
No.
and Doctor Who's been shit.
Well,
So,
yes, exactly. So we decided why not actually give ourselves the rare luxury of talking about shit we actually like.
and this was my idea. I just want to throw that out there.
It was a good idea. So we've
It was.
chosen three
And Ben
films
agreed to
each.
it, and here we are.
Yeah, we've chosen three films each and we're alternating. So it's my turn
Yep.
first, because I'm the best. And the film
Because
I
I deign to let you go
the
first.
film I chose was Van Helsing from 2004.
Yes, it was, wasn't it?
Opening statements. Go on, tell me you hated it.
My opening statement is actually going to be my closing statement that I wrote down. Um, all in all, a pretty crap film, but decent if you don't take it seriously at all.
Yeah. I I
I feel
I
like that's a fair comment to make.
You're more generous to this film
If you're
than
treating it as a serious, if you're treating it as a serious piece of art, it's fucking awful. If you're thinking
Oh,
of it as a, if you're thinking of it as an attempt at a fun action romp, then it's fine.
yes. People are pretty negative about this film on the whole, and I think there's some good stuff in it. There's some
Yeah,
there's some good
not as
stuff.
much nudity as I was hoping.
There's some good stuff in it, and I like it, and I will defend this. So, shall we do what
Yeah.
we usually do and start
Okay.
from the beginning?
Yeah, go on then. There's a weird smell in here.
Is it you?
I don't think so.
Oh.
Oh no, my penguin's falling now. I've got a little spray thing. I'm gonna
Mm.
spray my curtains.
Well,
Carry on.
so
Start the start.
film opens with an angry mob, and
As all too many films do.
yes, in black and white, and they're heading to Castle Frankenstein, where inside Dr. Frankenstein is doing his experiment shit, and he brings his monster to life, doesn't he? Doesn't he?
Yeah, I said yes. Whatever this monster is,
I didn't.
yes.
I didn't hear that because otherwise I wouldn't have repeated myself.
Well, you should pay attention.
Well, no, it didn't come.
You're always repeating yourself.
It didn't come through. Anyway, yes,
Oh,
he brings the monster to life and notices that it's not great timing because there's an angry mob trying to break his door down with a battering ram. So
they picked the worst day for it, really, didn't they?
yeah, he sort of makes a move to get out of there, and who should pop up but old Count Dracula?
Ah, ah, ah.
Yes,
One appearance of Count Dracula.
yeah, yes, and he and Dracula seeming pretty calm about this whole thing, and is like,
Well, you would, wouldn't you?
yes, reveals that he wants um, the monster that he's created for his own insidious purposes. And we don't know at this point what those purposes are, but Dr. Frankenstein is told and is horrified.
Yes,
And
it's a cutaway to the crowd, doesn't
yes,
it? And to what
yes,
he's been told.
and what
I just want to
oh, go on.
I just want to. My opening comment about this is, good lord, it's in black and white. They're in Transylvania. It's 1887, and I think they're about to do a hate crime.
Yeah, yes, yes. Uh, it's yeah, it's a classic sort of old timey horror film mob scene, really, isn't it?
Yeah,
Um,
well, grab your torch and pitchfork style. This is
yeah,
it.
and yes, Frankenstein is horrified, and in one of many lines, I think this film has a lot of funny little moments.
Yeah, it has a few.
Yes, Frankenstein says, "I'd rather die than let you do that, or let him be used for such purpose." And Dracula's like, "Yeah, feel free. I don't actually need you anymore." It gets a chuckle out of me.
Yeah.
And there's
There's there was one shortly afterwards that gave me a chuckle.
yeah.
And it was Igor who gets
Well,
introduced.
we'll
And let
get
me
we'll
say, it
get
made
to
me
that
laugh.
because
Because Igor,
I do want to talk. I do want to talk a bit about that well, I suppose we'll talk about it now.
And Karen.
I mean, Frankenstein is sort of backed into a wall and asks his assistant Igor for help, and I'm handing it over to you.
Um, well, the line is along the lines of, "You've been very kind to me, Doctor, very thoughtful, but he pays me."
Yes.
Which, it's a perfectly reasonable thing to, you know,
Well, I like that line because,
it's very in keeping with his style of character.
well, it immediately sums up who Igor is. like,
Yeah.
like Frankenstein, you sort of, in that line, you immediately get the backstory of Igor. He's a hunchback. Dr. Frankenstein probably took him in, gave him a home, gave him a job, and was kind to him. And Igor is completely fine with betraying him just for a bit of cash, just for salary.
Mhm.
Um, yes. So Dracula kills Frankenstein, much to the distress of the monster.
Well, no, you've missed a
Have I?
brief,
All right, go
quite
on.
important moment here. We get that whole "you can't kill me"
Victor,
thing
I'm already dead.
with
Another line I like.
where, yeah, we get him stabbed, don't we?
Yeah,
Dracula gets stabbed, and we see the whole. It's a thing that you see in a lot of media, and it's a shot. It's a power move that works so nicely.
yes,
And no matter how many times I've seen it, I don't feel like it's ever been overused.
yes. I do like
And it's a
that.
weird thing because it is in a lot of things, and
Yeah,
yet still,
yes,
you know,
yes. I like that scene, that moment, and I like that line. Um, yeah, and then Dracula kills Dr. Frankenstein. And I don't know what Eagle's thinking at this point because he gets the fuck out of there, and I don't really know what's going on in his head. Like maybe he's freaked out by the whole
yeah,
thing and he just wants to get out of there at that point. I don't really
he
know.
just wants to avoid the mob because at the end of the day, he can die quite easily.
Yeah, you look. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Not entirely sure what's going on there, but yeah, he gets out, and he's not the only one who's on the move because the monster gets out and throws a
Frankie.
mass. Yes, Frankie. He throws a massive fucking bit of electrical equipment at Dracula and knocks him into the
Yep,
fireplace.
yep. Does nothing.
Yeah, he takes his well, he hold.
Incapacitates him for a
Yeah,
short while, I should
yes,
say, because there's a bit of a gap between him getting thrown in and him getting out again.
yeah. He manages to make it all the way to the fucking windmill with his dead dad, which is
Yeah,
yeah,
limping because he's got a gimpy leg.
yes. Dracula takes his sweet fucking time, but
And
the
he goes to
mo
this windmill.
yes, which is full of absinthe.
He, get, he gets followed. I liked that shot of the booze just to show us how flammable it really is.
Yes,
Clearly, that's the whole point of that shot, is to explain why he's going to just fucking go up in flames and
yeah.
blow up.
I mean, presumably
Right.
it's some sort of illegal distillery going on in there, or maybe the guy who runs the windmill is just a fucking alcoholic. I don't know.
Moulin Rouge.
Yeah, yes. Which
It's away with the fairies.
Incidentally had Richard Roxburgh in it, who played Dracula in this.
Oh, do it.
Yes,
Oh, who knew?
I
Same
did.
time, so roughly the same era as well.
Yeah,
Just want
yeah.
to, you know.
Yeah. So Frankenstein and the monster are in the windmill, and the townsfolk are throwing the torches at it, and it's on fire, it's burning down, and then there's a crash. I don't know how they hear the glass breaking from that far away from the castle, but hey ho. And after, I think it's after Frankenstein's monster goes, asks why, and that woman faints. Uh,
Yeah.
that Dracula and his brides appear in their sort of bat forms.
Yep.
It's a hell of a night for the townsfolk. There's a lot going on for them tonight because now vampires
It
have
really
showed
is.
up.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, time to make a fucking run for it. So they get out of there, and
They get out of there pretty fucking quickly as well, because 1 minute they're there's loads of them, and the next
yeah,
minute they've not had enough time to get away, but they're still gone.
yeah, they just scramble for the woods. I guess I don't think Dracula and his brides give two shits about them at this point.
I watched this on Amazon as part of their free with Prime or whatever
Yeah.
thing, and it made a point of highlighting that as a gaff.
Huh.
In that page,
I don't.
yeah, a continuity error they called it.
I don't see it as a gap. I just think they just ran into the nearby woods. I just thought it made sense to me always. Um, yeah, so Dracula and his brides land just in time to see the windmill blow up. And his brides are.
Why would you build a windmill near some woods?
Why wouldn't you?
Because it's going to block the wind.
Not if your windmill's taller. I mean, it is in the middle of
No,
a
but
plain. I mean, there were woods
okay,
near the
but that's so
castle.
what nearby woods?
Well, I don't know. The guy
Anyway, get
who
on with it.
built it was clearly drunk. Anyway,
Well, evidently, yeah.
yes. So the brides land and Dracula lands just in time to see the windmill blow up, and they just sort of assume nothing could possibly have survived that. And that was a complete waste of fucking time. Getting
Yeah.
Frankenstein all that support. Then what happens?
We go across to Paris.
Yes, it's a year later.
Yeah, Van Helsing is on a wanted poster, dead or alive.
Yeah,
Although it's in French, so that is my loose translation.
yeah.
It's in colour now,
Yes, it
but you
is.
wouldn't really be able to tell that very well because it's so fucking dark. It's like watching Game of Thrones.
They did say I.
Um,
They did say when I was a kid, I loved the film so much. I watched the director's commentary. It's like one of the first films I did that for. And they did say they did think about doing the whole film in black and white, which would have been interesting. Yeah,
like Sin City.
yeah,
Um, he's wandering about this as yet unrevealed character.
yes.
We can imply that it's probably Van Helsing, but we don't know it yet.
No, we don't.
And he's looking for something,
Yes, he is.
and he ends up finding a dead body, I believe,
Yeah,
and ascertaining from that it has been killed by a mysterious figure who he follows into what assumes a church's attic. Is it meant to be Notre Dame?
it's Notre Dame. Yeah,
Yeah, okay, that makes more sense then, for what comes up later. And lo and behold, he hunts down this thing that has killed this woman, and we
Hmm.
find out it's Mr. Hyde of
Yes,
Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde fame.
yes. I was watching this for this rewatch thing, and I thought to myself, this should have been London, and this should have tied into Jack the Ripper. Jack the Ripper was from
Okay, now
1888.
yes, but they when the bell went off
Yeah,
and he said the bells,
yeah,
that was them likening him to Quasimodo.
yeah. But
So
okay, but you don't. Okay, but it doesn't need to be Paris for that reference to make sense.
no, but it makes more sense if it's in
I don't know.
if that's where they've chosen to do it. Also, don't they mention something about him having missed him in London?
Yeah, but you can change that, can't you? You
No,
can.
no, but that means it could very easily be intended as a similar sort of,
Well, maybe,
you know,
maybe.
I missed him. You missed me in London, or whatever, and
I,
then
I just think they missed a trick there. I think that would have been
either they've
fun.
missed a trick or they've tried to do that trick and they've misrepresented it.
Mm.
So anyway, he fights him. It's Robbie Coltrane does his voice.
Yes, and
Yeah, that was a nice.
reveals his response. What does he say? Like seven men, 5 women, 4 children, some goats,
Can't remember.
and a rather nasty massacre of poultry. Yeah, he's killed a lot of things. And Van Helsing has been told to bring him in. But he's like, just between you and me, I'd rather just kill you and be done with it. And then they have a fight.
He fired those 6 shooters quite eagerly, I thought, considering the situation.
Yeah,
He shoots almost blindly,
yeah,
which is not the hallmark of a experienced, for lack of a better word, monster hunter.
yeah,
But he has got some rather high tech devices,
yes.
even by today's standards. To be honest with you,
I like those spinny gas powered thingies.
the cutting blades.
Yeah, they're pretty fun.
Yeah, I mean, if someone was walking around the street with them these days, they'd get taken down by the police, but also that would be a pretty high tech thing for someone to just have, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So you know, but yeah, he does. He has a little fight, don't he? They have a big old fight, and 1 minute it's looking one way, and the next it's going another.
Yeah.
Before we know it, they're on the roof, and one of them's falling off the roof,
Yes, he throws Van
and
Helsing
then
off, and Van Helsing uses his grapple gun and shoots through Mr. Hyde.
very helpful grappling gun that.
Yeah, and he tries to tug him off,
Yep.
but it doesn't work.
So he gets tugged back up.
Yeah, and Mr. Hyde forgets he's on he's on the roof and runs off the other side.
Yep.
And swings through the main window of Notre Dame, and as we saw with his arm when it was cut off, he potion presumably was worn off by this point, and he turns into a frail old man just in time to splat.
Mid-fall.
Yes, just in time to splat on the pavement, and all the French people who were presumably inside, because that's a pretty fucking quiet Paris. There's not a fucking soul about.
I mean, it's 1888.
Yeah, they're all inside, reading
Well,
newspapers.
didn't you hear? There's a killer on the loose.
Well, yeah, I suppose, yeah.
But yeah, it was pretty convenient that he turned back mid-fall. I thought,
Yes, and
you know.
yeah.
But that's fine. Problem solved. Someone thinks Van Helsing's a bad guy, and then he's off to see the Pope.
Well, he goes to see the cardinal. It's the James Bond moment, isn't it? Where
Yeah, I mentioned
yeah,
that in my notes.
yeah, they mention it in the director's commentary. I remember where he meets the cardinal, played by Alan Armstrong, who is who's basically M.
Yep.
Um, and we introduced to Carl, who's Q, and all the gadget
Yeah,
stuff.
my exact notes are Carl plays the combination Q/bumbling manservant role.
Yes, that's exactly what he is. That's exactly what he
Yes.
is in this film.
I got that. I remember I've not seen this in many, many years. I
Yeah.
got that from his first encounter.
Yes.
The first thing he said, yes, that's what he is, isn't it?
Yeah, that's exactly who that character is. Played incidentally by the same guy who played Faramir.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And
I didn't get that, but
the reason he's all covered in friar's robes, it's not just the character thing, it's because the actor's fucking jacked.
yeah,
Which I thought was funny.
fair enough.
Yeah.
They give a bit of backstory to the character, don't they?
A little,
Van
yeah.
Helsing is this person that hasn't really got a memory, but he remembers old legions of Roman
Yes,
battles and stuff. And
he just sort of showed up on the stairs of the Vatican one day and they brought him in and they sort of trained him to be their monster hitman for this secret society.
A secret society that supposedly has memory restoring capabilities based on what they said to him.
Well,
it's implied that they can help him.
That whole thing about Van Helsing's memory and who he is a major issue with this film because it never gets resolved, really.
No, it really doesn't. He has an opportunity.
There's no... yeah, I mean, he mentions he has some sort of issues with his job because, you know, the monsters he hunt aren't just... They were once men. You know, like we saw Mr. Hyde turn back and presumably kills other stuff that was once human, or you know, it's not as simple as good and evil. There's a moral greyness to it, I guess. But he's
that's about a lot of things.
Yeah, but he's been given his new assignment, which is to go. He's going to go to Transylvania because there's this family, the Valerians.
Not the transsexual Transylvania, just to be clear.
Yeah, the Valerians, who 450 years ago, their patriarch made an ill-advised decision to swear that none of his family would get into heaven until they killed this unkillable thing.
Yes, bit of a fucking fuck up.
Yeah, now there's only 2 of them left.
Yeah, bit of a fuck up.
Yes, and the secret society wants to help them out and kill Dracula as well because they've been doing a lot of work in the East, and it's the right thing to do to kill and destroy a great evil and also help these people.
Yeah, I just want to quickly. There's a lot of multiculturalism going on under the Vatican.
Yeah.
Which was nice to see. You've got, well, there's Muslims there. There's a mention of Allah. I hear there's Buddhists and all sorts. It's a lot more diverse than one would expect.
It's like a world religion thing. It's not just Catholics. Yeah. There's, as you say, there's like Buddhists. There's like Tibetan guys. It looks like. And,
this is a place where evidently
there's some guys in turbans.
We get introduced to quite a powerful device that has no known purpose yet.
Yeah, that's another issue I sort of have with this, because vampires are like an established thing already. They know about them and they've read about them, and they, you know, presumably they faced off with some of them in the past. It's like, here's this thing that creates a vast amount of sunlight. I have no idea what its practical application may be.
On this vampire
hunt. It's like, well, I can maybe think of one thing.
Yeah, just one.
And even then,
and there's a really good time to use it.
Yes, the perfect time. And even then, it's like,
and then they don't quite use it in time.
And even then, it's like, this is an amazing stun grenade.
Yeah,
it's, you know, it's got practical application. So he brings
his gas-powered crossbow.
He gets a gas-powered machine gun crossbow type thing. You're right, and silver steak and a crucifix and some garlic he presumably eats on the journey.
A telescopic steak.
Yes,
as well. It's like a walking stick if you have it fully extended. It's
crazy. An extendable steak thing. Yeah. And Carl has been roped into going with him. I don't quite understand why.
I'll make sure he does a job properly or something. I don't know.
I to offer assistance. Maybe it's that bigger. But surely
Carry his
they,
golf bag.
yeah, surely they've got other soldiers and stuff they can send. But no, we send Q. Maybe they just want to get rid of him for a bit.
Well, he's a bubbling fool, remember?
Yes, and off they go on a ship across the sea from Italy to
Yes, the Adriatic Sea, I believe.
yeah, through the Carpathian Mountains, I think.
So on and so forth.
And they eventually arrive in this shithole village in
They
Transylvania.
do. But no one seems to like the fact that there's visitors.
Yes, and everybody looks like they haven't bathed in months.
Hang on a minute. We've missed a bit.
Oh, oh shit,
We've,
yeah.
we've missed a moment where and I don't like using this term, but it's the term that is used. The gypsy people.
Yes.
Are hunting some sort of creature.
Yes, you're right.
One of them, the male remaining family member,
Velkin.
is trussed up like some sort. I'm just for some sort of reason is tied up against a pole, but it turns out he's not. It's all a piece of bait.
Yes.
And all him and his mates are trying to catch this thing that is supposedly a werewolf.
Yeah.
Based on context, it seems like it's a werewolf.
It is a werewolf.
And they managed to get. No. Just wait a minute.
Okay.
So they capture this creature. They put it in a cage. And then they start firing normal guns at it.
Yeah, that's stupid.
Guns with normal bullets,
Yeah.
despite knowing that it's supposed to be silver bullets because it's a fucking werewolf they're hunting.
Yeah.
I took great issue with that at the time. I still do now. I don't know if you can tell from my tone of voice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Carry on.
What's your point with this? Are you saying it's supposedly a werewolf?
No, I mean, like they've gone there. We have to believe that they've gone there to hunt this werewolf.
Yeah.
Okay. So why the fuck have they got normal bullets?
Well, because silver's expensive, man.
Okay, but what is the point of the normal bullets if they ain't going to do anything?
Well, it was clearly hurting it. It was pissing it off.
All those bullets end up doing is helping get it free.
I know they make a really stupid. Yeah.
They're fucking stupid.
No,
the whole setup of those people doing all that.
I agree with you. I don't think that was part of the plan for everybody to just start shooting. I think they just panicked and started shooting. And I agree, it's stupid. I agree.
Okay.
But it's a character flaw rather than a film flaw, I think.
It's a fucking group character flaw.
Well, yeah, because Anna...
These people don't deserve to be saved.
Because Anna mentions that both she and her brother know we need to get the gun with the silver bullets because that's the only thing that's going to work. And everybody else just shits themselves and starts firing and fucks everything up. Something else I want to mention. Yes.
The gun with the silver bullets, not a gun with silver bullets.
Silver's...
If they've got 6 bullets, right, put it in 6 different guns.
So then you only get 1 shot each.
That's fine. You've got 6 people to do it.
You're
not relying on 1 fucking gun.
This plan would have worked.
You only need 1 gun to hit.
Well, this plan would have worked if people had to shit themselves.
Not only did it not work, it backfired.
Well, one thing I want to mention is it's daylight in this scene.
Oh yeah, don't get me fucking started.
So again, this is something I vaguely remember from all director's commentary. I think they mentioned this and they were just like, yeah, we thought it would be cool to see a werewolf in daylight.
Yeah, oh well.
I mean, yeah.
Fuck for law.
I mean...
Like I said, if you're taking this film seriously, it's shite. But if you can take it as a fun action romp, it's fine.
Well, you do get full moon sort of in the early hours in the morning, you know, don't you? When the moon's still up.
Yes, I mean, technically speaking, full moon doesn't necessarily mean nighttime.
Well, there you go. I'm sort of fine with it.
It's implied by the term full moon that it would be nighttime, but no, it doesn't technically mean it, does it?
I'm sort of fine with it. It would have made more sense if they'd done it at night.
But anyway, we might not be able to see it very well.
Well, you can just light the scene.
With what, Ben?
Well, with lights.
Well, you need a full moon. That's what'll do it. You know.
Yeah. So as you say, it backfires, and the werewolf gets out and chases Anna. Presumably having been sent by Dracula to kill the last 2 people who have the biggest motivation to stop him, because they've got 450 years of family members sitting around in purgatory. Chases down Anna, and at the last minute, Velkin jumps in her way, pushes her out of the way, shoots the werewolf, and they both go tumbling over the cliff.
Yep.
And that's that.
Oh no.
Yeah.
One more family member dead.
Yeah. So now it's just her, and I'm sure she's cursing her fucking great grandfather for making such a stupid fucking promise. Which
I do want to say,
yeah.
and I'm going to say it now.
Oh god.
She has got a nice ass,
Okay, noted.
and she is supposed to be the sexy female love interest.
She is, yeah.
And there's not many opportunities in this film where they seem to really demonstrate the sexiness, in my opinion.
Yeah,
This is one of them with her ass.
they don't sort of. She's not presented fully as a sex object. She is sort of capable in her own right. You know. Well, she is. She is.
She doesn't demonstrate it very well in this first half.
Well, yeah. I think there's enough there. You know, she's you can only expect so much of her. She's got a lot on her fucking plate.
I think she spends an awful lot of her time getting saved rather than doing the badass stuff.
Well,
in fairness, but we'll carry on.
Well, the odds are against her. I think she works. Yes. So Van Helsing and Carl arrive at the Transylvanian village. There's a bit of a standoff.
Yep.
And the villagers aren't happy, and the Undertaker guy who led the mob in the opening is measuring them up the coffin.
You're cutting out for me.
Yeah, there's a bit of a standoff in that village. Yeah.
Yep.
And the Undertaker guy who led the mob at the beginning is measuring them up for coffins.
That's right. Top Hat he was listed as.
Yes, which is amusing. He's a funny, creepy character. And Hannah says, "We don't need your help. We're fine."
Yep.
At which point Van Helsing says, "Oh, do you? Are you? Whatever." And pulls out his gun. And Hannah ducks reflectively to reveal that the Dracula's brides are attacking the village.
Bum bum bum.
Yes. I want to talk
in daytime.
Yes. Which is fine.
Yeah, because the clouds were hiding the sun, and that's it's established that if they are in the sunlight, it will cause issues.
Sunlight is direct sunlight.
During, they attack when it's clouded over, and that's fine. Yes. I can live with that. It's not an issue.
Yeah,
I wanted to point out it is daytime.
Yeah,
and make a point of saying that it was daytime.
Yes, which is sort of unexpected because usually they attack at night, and they've gone out of their way to attack at a time, which makes them significantly more vulnerable. Presumably because Anna now they're so close to wiping out the entire family. There's people who are like sworn to spend their entire existence fighting Dracula, which makes sense. That's
not a very sensible tactical ploy, though, is it? To go gun ho to get the last person when really you just wait for them to fuck up because they're the desperate one.
I don't know. Do you take that risk though?
Absolutely take that risk.
I don't know. I think. I mean, you're so close to getting rid of them all. You don't know.
Especially when you consider what we know about Velkin.
That's true. He's not dead, is he?
No.
But if you got rid of her, you've essentially won.
Yeah, but they've basically won already until they start doing stupid shit.
Well, as far as they're concerned, I mean, we'll get into it, but as far as they're concerned...
If they hadn't attacked here now, at this point, when Van Helsing was there was no guarantee that they would have teamed up together.
Well, they had no idea he was there.
Well, you say...
They didn't know. They didn't know. They refer to him as the stranger. He's just some guy, they show up, and then he just starts fucking shooting at them, and it's like, what the fuck is this?
In that case, what auspicious timing.
Yeah, it is handy. Yeah, I want to talk about the brides, because, I mean, the brides are in the book, the Dracula book. And for the most part, they're just like sexually aggressive women that are just meant to demonstrate how pervy Dracula is and add a layer of sort of sinfulness and, sort of depravity to the whole thing.
I wrote down, now there's maybe kind of sexy, naked, flying female vampire themes.
Yeah.
As my note. Because there's something there, but it's not quite right.
Well, they don't have a massive amount of character, but there's enough there to make them individual and sort of interesting in their own right. You know? Because you've got Maishka, who's the one who dies in the village, and she's, you can tell she's sort of the youngest and most sort of playful. And you got Verona, who wasn't actually named in the film, which is weird. She's the brunette one. She's very clearly the leader. And then there's some stuff with Alira and Anna, which suggests that they know each other. There's some sort of relationship there, but we never really get much into it. But that's a hell of a lot more than we've ever gotten with these sort of characters who were essentially, side characters. And I really like that. Yeah, but there's a huge fight. Maishka fucks up a cow.
Yeah.
Some villagers get bitten. And it gets thrown into a tree.
It becomes apparent that he needs to learn how to burst fire that crossbow.
Yeah.
And 2, there's a point where he finally hits one of them.
Yeah.
And it happens to be A, when he fires a single bolt.
Yeah.
And B, at the one time where if he missed, that it would all be over.
Yeah, that is handy. There is a bit where Anna's running and he's like firing at the vampires who are chasing her, and it's like you're taking an awful risk there because you could you could kill her yourself pretty easily.
He's hitting absolutely everything apart from what he's meant to be hitting.
Yeah, that's handy. I want to see the villagers who got riddled with crossbow bolts.
Well, no wonder the blokes digging graves at night.
Yeah, it's like, thanks for killing 50 people by accident.
Business is booming, boys.
Yeah, we'll eat tonight.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so Anna gets thrown into a tree, and then the sun sort of comes up.
Yeah.
And they're pretty sure one of them's in the well because I hear something. And all that time I was just thinking, just light the fucker up. But they don't do it. And
if it's basically shooting fish in a barrel.
Yeah. And then the sun gets covered up again and she flies out and the fight continues. At this point the brides split up.
Yep.
Carl throws Van Helsing some holy water, and Verona,
which misses.
Verona, who I assume is the leader, well, she is the leader, she catches it and is like, stop fucking about with him and just kill him. Which is sort of a running thing for these characters.
Yeah.
But at the very least, it's lampshaded. They draw attention to it, which sort of makes up for it a lot. It makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, despite being told not to stop fucking about with him, she continues to fuck about with him and just throws him into shit.
He's got enough time.
And then flies away, only then realising, oh shit, I've accidentally thrown him right next to his weapon and just across from the holy water at the church.
Yep. Which Carl draws attention to.
Yes. So while this is going on, Verona and Alira are in with Anna. And there's a bit of back and forth there. Alira mentions over a dead guy she's killed and is drinking his blood, 30 years old, perfectly aged. Which is... For a start, that guy's not 30. Well, I suppose he's a rough Eastern European 30. But I guess we're no longer perfectly aged.
No, that's good for me.
So yeah, they're about to kill Anna. And Maishka's flying in on Van Helsing, but she's too late. And he just gets there and then fucking lights her up with crossbow bolts and pins her to the church. And she disintegrates and dies. And Van Helsing does the sign of the cross. And Verona and Alira feel that. I guess there's some sort of connection there between the three of them. And the pain and grief is so much that they fly away.
Now that's a fucking stupid situation as well.
It's a bit of a cop out, yeah.
There's an opportunity there for them to finish it all at the cost of just one of theirs, and instead they fuck off to fight another day.
Yeah, they could have. They should have just killed her. They should have just killed her, and it's a.
Yeah.
I get the whole. There's some sort of emotional or psychological connection there. So
if they're not going to kill her, they at least take her.
Yeah, they sort of feel each other's pain, but I mean, she's right. I mean, it'd be different if they were just sort of fighting in the village still, but she's right fucking there. They've literally about to bite her.
Yeah.
But
they were that close that if they'd slipped a little bit, she'd have been punctured.
Yeah.
There's no fucking.
Yeah. I agree with that. But they fuck off. And
back to Dracula.
Yes, and the townsfolk, far from being thrilled, are a little pissed off.
Yep.
As the Undertaker points out, vampires they usually only kill 1 or 2 people a month, just because that's what they need to survive. Um, but now they're angry, and now they're going to start killing for revenge. So thanks for that.
Yeah.
And Carl asks if it's always like this, and Van Helsing says, "Yeah, pretty much." Um,
we do spend a little bit of time back with Dracula
yeah,
here.
yeah,
And it becomes apparent that he's actually just a little bit depressed.
he is.
He then does something a bit scary, which scares his two remaining brides, and then tells them not to be scared of him.
Yes, it's
Um,
an interesting relationship the three of them have because they
well,
seem.
I would say that it's all the hallmarks of an abusive one.
Well, it is, of course, yeah. I mean, he doesn't really feel anything because when they're grieving, they clearly have some more emotional capacity than he does, and they're grieving their sister bride, and he's like, "Don't worry, I'll just get another one."
Yeah.
What do we mean so little to you? He's like, "Yeah." And they mention a test or an experiment they're going to do. He's like,
Yes, they do.
Please don't do it again. We couldn't bear it if it failed." He's like, "No, we're doing it." And we see that there's a werewolf,
Yes.
and Igor's playing with it.
Yep.
And
Get it before it gets me.
Yes, Dracula says, "Why do you torment that thing?" So, and Igor says, it's who I am, or it's in my nature." Well, that's what I do.
Yeah.
Yes, and as you said, do unto others before they do unto you. And all the dwergy, the little troll things, they go to Castle Frankenstein because we're going to start this experiment now.
I call them his little gimp servants.
Yes, Eastern European munchkins.
I wrote that before we'd been told what they were called, by the way.
Yeah, I was wondering if they named them in the film, but they do.
Yeah, it's a bit later, but yeah.
Yeah. So Dracula's brides go into the coffin, presumably to bang. Um, and we go back to Anna's castle. It's one of 3 castles that we see in this film.
I would call this a castle. I'd call it a mansion.
Yeah, I suppose it's more of a manor. I guess you're right. Um, but yeah, there's some talking about the family stuff
Yeah.
and blah 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 blah, and she's going to go and fight, and then he knocks her out and
With a
says,
date rape spray.
"Yes," and sends Carl to the tower. He really is James Bond.
Yeah.
And then he puts her in bed at night, and I was thinking to myself, that's a bit risky, isn't it? What if they show up again and she's unconscious?
My exact note here is: whilst I understand not wanting to go outside while it's dark due to the extra dangers, I would think they'd want to be awake.
Yeah, it's like yeah. I mean, you think this place would have like a safe room that's covered in crucifixes and silver and whatnot? I don't know.
Yeah,
Seeing as they've been fighting this for so long, but yeah, he just dumps her in bed and assumes they're probably not going to try again today because one of them just died, which makes a certain degree of sense, but it's not a guaranteed thing. It's not a
and
risk.
it isn't accurate.
It's not a risk you want to take.
It's not right, is it? Either.
What do you mean?
Because a werewolf turns up.
That's true, but that's on his own volition.
No, he gets sent.
Okay, well, he gets sent to find out more about the stranger. Yeah, you're right. But he speaks to Anna on his own volition, so yeah.
Yes. We have a moment where she realizes that he's a werewolf.
Yes.
Whilst they're talking, because he turns.
She hears a noise and is clearly being stalked by something, and then finds him.
He fucks off. Briefly.
Her brother, yeah.
Van Helsing turns up, and she says something along the lines of, "Who will show courage if not me?"
Mm-hmm.
And then blindly shot at, and then ran away from the werewolf.
Well, I just want to draw. You skip the transformation bit because I think it's kind of an interesting take on the whole werewolf thing. He strips his skin off and climbs up the wall, which I thought was interesting. You know, it's different than just sort of American Werewolf in London type thing. There's a bit of creativity there, and that actor was a dancer, so sort of that physicality, which they could have done a bit more of. But
I wasn't that fussed, but okay.
Yeah, I think it's worthy of note.
Fair enough.
But yes, the werewolf Falcon gets away, and Anna doesn't want to kill him because he's her brother.
Yep, understandable.
She feels weird about it, and Van Helsing goes hunting
I just want to. They make a big point right now saying that she's the last of the family still.
Yeah.
Despite the fact they both know that he's alive and werewolves aren't undead.
Well, she can't. I mean, the werewolf lore in this film is weird, and I still don't fully understand it.
I don't think they understand it, mate.
Yeah, I don't know whether he's ever going to be human again after this first little phase, or whether he just permanently turns into a werewolf.
It's established. They do establish that after their first full moon has passed, they are permanently werewolves.
Okay.
They do establish that. There is a cure for it, but it's a cure for before your first. Hence the time limit later on that.
Yeah.
We'll get to.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, he's out of play essentially at this point. Really. I mean, he's still there. He's not quite fully gone, but in all senses that matter, he's not a threat anymore.
Unless maybe what they're saying is that you are permanently in wolf shape after that point, which would explain why there was one in wolf form in the daytime.
Well, that's what I was saying.
When
I said he's permanently sort of a werewolf, that's what I meant.
You didn't say that. You said maybe it's a full moon because it's you get full moons during the day.
No,
you use those words. You were talking about that.
Not then. Just now when I said when I was talking about Belkin being a werewolf permanently.
Yeah, no.
That's what I meant.
There's two scales of permanent, isn't there? Because it is undoable, as we established later.
Yeah.
Which is what I thought you were talking about.
No,
which is why
I wasn't.
Which is a reasonable way of thinking.
I know. I wasn't clear.
Be clear, boy. Be clear.
Yeah, all right. Get on with it.
It's your turn.
You hadn't. Okay, I didn't think you'd finish your point, but yes.
Yeah. Fucking talked over me, man.
He's in the graveyard, and the creepy guy is in a coffin, just sort of chilling.
Yeah, because he's creepy like that.
And Van Helsing's like, "There's a werewolf about. Aren't you concerned?" And he says, "Nah, he doesn't bother with me. I just clean up after him. He's got bigger fish to fry." And then he inexplicably tries to kill Van Helsing.
Yep.
And explains, "I can't help it. It's just in my nature."
Yep.
It's just Transylvania is just full of weirdos and creeps.
Yeah, it's gonna. Well, I mean, again.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Yeah. And the werewolf leaps at Van Helsing, and he just gets out of the way fast enough for it to hit the Undertaker and kill him. And the hat
knock him into a grave that he'd been digging.
Yes, and the hat lands on his spade. And then he takes a shot at the werewolf, but Anna pushes his arm out of the way, and he gets away.
When they have his whole conversation about whether he knew that it was him, the brother, before or after, blah blah blah, so on and so forth.
And he's completely right in the point he makes. Like, yeah, he can't help it, but he's still going to kill people. And she mentions that there is a rumor that Dracula has a cure, which makes a lot of sense to me.
You are cutting out like a son of a bitch.
She mentions there's a rumor that Dracula has a cure.
Yes, stop. Leave the call. Rejoin it.
Okay.
Because you're only going to cut out again.
And I'm back.
Welcome back. I'm assuming I'm not cutting out for you.
No.
No, but it's So yeah, go
on. Yes, she mentions there's a rumor that Dracula has a cure, which makes a lot of sense. Because if you're a villager and you get bitten by a werewolf, you're probably you may well seek Dracula out of desperation. And go to him if you think he's got the cure, and then he can sort of manipulate you. Is sort of my reading of it. But the werewolf,
yeah.
I think the thing about this film is it ties in the Frankenstein stuff, as far as I can, really well, in a way that makes a lot of sense with the Dracula stuff. I don't think it does so well with the werewolf.
There's no need for the werewolf stuff. Yeah. If you take the werewolf stuff out, the movie works still.
You just need to tighten it up a bit and get there. Like, does Dracula controls the werewolves in a way that's more than just saying, "I have a cure. If you work for me, I might cure you. It's your only hope." There's like he controls them even when they're in the werewolf form. It's really weird. I don't fully understand it.
Yeah, it's again. movies. It's not that kind of movie, Ben.
No, it's not, but that doesn't mean you don't try and do better. Um, so Anna and Van Helsing decide, you know what, let's go to Frankenstein's castle. Let's actually do some work tonight instead. And Anna mentions that the guy who used to live here was all kinds of fucked up. He was into grave robbing, amongst other things.
Yep.
And
Coprophilia.
which does make it. Why wasn't she there as part of the mob? I don't understand. I don't know.
Well, maybe they were busy.
What was she doing?
Well, her dad didn't disappear until just after.
Yeah.
I make a point of that later on, don't
Yeah.
they? So, you know.
But
they find these big old egg sack things, don't they?
yeah.
Yeah.
And they don't know what they are. So Dracula or Van Helsing sticks his fingers in one, starts scooping shit out, and finds a little baby.
Yeah, a bit creepy.
And we get a kind of lackluster reveal of Dracula's main plan.
Yep.
And Van Helsing points out, well, he's one guy and he's got 3 gorgeous women for hundreds of years. Like, what else is he going to do? And he has kids.
Yeah. Stillborns.
Yeah, because
ostensibly,
it makes sense to me that Dracula and his brides are undead, so their kids are born dead.
Yeah, I no issue with that.
Yeah,
logically,
that makes sense, and he's using.
Has he considered fucking a living woman?
No, because that's weird.
Maybe he should.
That's weird, Jordan. Don't be weird.
What's weird about Dracula wanting to fuck a woman?
No, don't make it gross.
Tell me you don't want to fuck Astarion.
No, I don't.
Okay, tell me you don't want your living character to fuck Astarion. You do. You fucking you. Okay, anyone who watches. If you're watching this, go watch our latest Baldur's Gate video and listen to how Ben gets all upset because Astarion rejected him.
It was very insulting.
You do that. Exactly. So because you wanted to bed him.
Well,
I don't care what you say, you wanted to bed him. This is a common thing. People want to fuck vampires. Twilight wouldn't have got anywhere near as successful as it did if people didn't want to fuck vampires, Ben.
I don't know. I guess he just.
All I'm asking.
He just doesn't want to do that. I guess.
All I'm asking is, has he considered it?
Maybe, but you
might solve his problem.
You sort of get the impression that he's kind of not all that interested on some level, and that he's kind of been nagged into it by his wives.
I don't know. He seems to get all upset when it was probably.
Yeah, right. It's weird. I mean, it's sort of a bit of column A and a bit of column B. Like he wants them as so his progeny can basically take over the world.
Yeah.
But he does mention in the bit with Frankenstein at the beginning that his brides are insisting upon it. So they're in it for like personal reasons because they want their children to live, and I don't think he has, because he says he doesn't feel anything. I don't think he has that sort of personal attachment to these things.
No, what he feels is annoyed because they keep nagging him.
Yeah. Yeah. So they're using Vulcan for the experiment. Having used his father before, Dracula is hoping that werewolf venom will add a little something. And at first it sort of works.
Yeah, a little bit.
You know, they come to life and Dracula or Van Helsing fights them.
There's a big old block of bat things and he's using a shotgun.
Yeah.
Don't know when the shotgun was invented, but I feel like that's a...
No, we had shotguns.
Yeah, I don't know if we had that style of shotgun. Quite so. It doesn't matter too much.
Yeah, so the brides go and take... they go and take the kids out to hunt. And one of them flies into the window and Carl says, I must warn somebody, as if he's going to get there before they are.
Yep.
Really, he should just stay inside. But he got him late, so I suppose that's something. So they save Vulcan eventually. Well, to an extent. Anna tries, and then he transforms, and Dracula and Van Helsing have a little chat. Dracula reveals that he can't be staked through the heart, and the crucifix doesn't do much. And there's some sort of connection between the two of them, but we're not sure what. And the experiment fails. Carl saves a lady, a barmaid, with a bucket. and all the babies explode, much to the bride's horror. And Van Helsing and Anna escape using the grappling gun and end up taking refuge in the windmill, with Dracula sending the werewolf after them to kill them both. Because now he's basically like, nothing is working, I'm done.
I wrote, yay, a zip line, followed immediately by, yay, a rope swing.
Yes. Yeah, so they go to the windmill, don't they, in the opening?
Yes,
or
they
the
do.
ruins of it.
Yep.
And they're having a little moment. And then the floor gives way and they fall through.
It does.
And the editing is really weird in those. I always thought the editing was weird in this little bit. Because it fades to black, and then we get Carl, a short scene with Carl where he discovers a thing on the wall. And it's like a painting that comes to life of a werewolf and a vampire fighting each other. And he's so startled, he sort of stumbles back and falls over the lady on the sofa. And then
it doesn't. I know you touched on it before, but it doesn't amuse me that he gets laid even though she would have been fine.
Yeah,
just 20 seconds. It'd have been fine.
He hasn't accomplished anything, but fuck it. I guess in that moment she thought she was going to die. And, yeah.
Sex is cheap in Transylvania in 1888, it seems.
Well, yeah, why not? Chances are you're going to die anyway. You're going to be torn apart by a monster.
One or two people a month get eaten by a vampire. You're going to get your kicks in while you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, so then it hard cuts to black.
Oh, wait, hang on. No, because there's this lovely bit, isn't there, where he talks about how he can do that because he's only a friar.
Yes. It harkens back to the cursing.
Yeah.
Says, you can't say that, you're a monk. Actually, I'm a friar. So all I want, God damn it. And it's like, okay.
It turns out he can fuck because he's only a friar.
Yeah.
That is nice. But yeah, anyway, sorry, carry on.
Yeah, hard cuts, and I've always found that edit a bit discombobulating. I'm probably alone in that. It just stood out for me, it always has. And Anna and Van Helsing are in the cave, aren't they? Underneath the windmill.
Yep. Yeah.
And they notice fish bones and a Bible. And Van Helsing's like, yes, there's something alive down here. Judging from the footprints, it's pretty tall and it's got big feet and it's got a gammy leg. And it has
a copper teeth.
And 3 copper teeth. She's like, how did you know that? And he says, because he's standing right behind you.
Dun dun dun.
And it's Frankenstein's monster.
Typical Scooby-Doo movement.
Yes. And there's a bit of a fight scene. And Anna calls him Frankenstein's monster, and she says, "Oh, who's the real monster here?" And I like the portrayal of Frankenstein's monster in this film because he's intelligent.
Yeah, which is fair enough.
He
was meant to be in anyway, wasn't he?
Well, in the book he is, yeah.
Yeah.
And then Boris Karloff had him as like a shambling monosyllabic monster who can barely form a word. And this is far more accurate to the original book. And it makes sense because, Frankenstein's going to put a good brain in him.
You'd hope so.
Yeah.
But yeah, they decide that they need to not kill him because he's not a monster. And what happens is Van Helsing kills monsters.
Yes.
So he's not going to kill him.
No, he's not.
And he can't let her kill him.
No. Even though Frankenstein's monster wants him to kill him because he knows what Dracula wants to do with him. He's going to use him to bring all of his kids to life. And somehow he knows that there was a failed experiment. Even though he's been in this cave, I don't know, maybe he climbed up and sort of saw it, I guess. I don't know. I can only...
but they decide to flee to Rome.
Well, there's a reason they decide to flee to Rome, and that's because the werewolf season.
Yeah.
Yes. So now Dracula knows that Frankenstein monster is still alive.
Yep.
But yeah, go on.
They decide to flee to Rome.
Yeah.
And I just want to point out, because this was set in 1888, it would have been possible for them to have a car.
Would it?
It would, because the first car was invented in 85. And I'm telling you, if anyone's going to have had a car, it's Secret Society Vatican.
Well, it would draw an awful lot of attention to yourself, and it probably doesn't go that fast.
Well, either way, I mean, you want to talk fast? They use horses. Yeah. And Beckinsale's character, Anna, she specifically says, nothing is faster than Transylvanian horses. You couldn't possibly get caught by anything, not even a werewolf. And then they immediately get caught.
Well,
the vampire ladies and the werewolf.
Well, yeah. I
just want to just don't put the line in.
I
don't put the line in if it's not, if you're going to immediately.
It makes sense that the vampire brides are going to be as fast enough to keep up. But the werewolf,
That's fine.
I mean, she does
something along the lines of it would be hard for them to catch us. That's all you had to do.
Yes, she does explicitly
say.
Few
things are faster than Transylvanian horses.
She does explicitly say a werewolf couldn't keep up. Not even a werewolf can keep up. Yeah, I agree. And Carl is sharing with Frankenstein's monster, and they set off.
Yep.
And the bride attacks Van Helsing, and there's a bit of a fight scene, and they're fucking him up, and he's approaching a bridge.
Yep.
And he makes the jump just with the horses, but the carriage falls down, and the bride's like, "Oh fuck, we've only just found out he's alive and can't lose him again." They fly down. Alira can't get a grip on the wheel, so she ends up flying off, and it's left to Verona to get it. She rips the door open and finds stakes. Yes, it's been a whole trap. And she tries to make a break for it, but it hits the ground, and the explosives in there go off, and she gets fucked up.
Yeah, so that's another vampire down.
That's number 2 down. Incidentally, the actress who played Verona is married to Richard Roxburgh in real life.
Oh, okay.
They met on this film, which is kind of cute.
Oh, I read as part of a, because again it's Amazon and they put like little notes on the side sometimes.
Yeah.
They made a point of saying that one of the 2, I don't know which one of it was, but one of the 2 that was left is scared of heights. So she wasn't acting when she was scared in that hanging upside down scene.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. I know one of them's a lesbian as well. I think it's the last one left is a lesbian. So, you know.
So what we need is to get some lesbian vampire killers.
Oh, God.
Look, I liked that film, but there's a lot of tits in it, so that might have helped.
Probably. Yes, it turns out that was they had a decoy sort of thing, or they were spreading it out a bit, which makes sense, you know.
It makes some sense, yes.
Because I'm guessing there was probably some silver in that carriage as well, just in case the werewolf went after it, you know.
Yeah.
So Van Helsing meets up again with Anna, who's driving the other one, and the werewolf attacks it.
Oh my God, the werewolf got them as well?
Yes. Turns out she got sold some dodgy horses, I guess.
That's Transylvania for you. Yes. I took real issue with it. I just want to just don't put the line in. Just say, "Oh, these are some pretty fucking fast horses."
Yeah.
Hopefully they won't catch us.
These aren't
That's all you got to do.
Yeah. It's like, oh shit, these aren't Transylvanian horses. These are Bulgarian horses. We've been conned.
Those lazy Bulgarians.
You bust. Yes, and there's a fight scene and
swindled by gypsies.
Yes. Oh God. The carriage catches fire. And Anna's hanging off one end, and Van Helsing is hanging off the other. And Frankenstein's monster
Carl can't save them both.
Implores Carl to let him out, and he does so, and they save both of them.
It's worth noting that, yes, you say let him out. Frankenstein is chained in this carriage.
Yes.
And he has threatened to kill Carl.
Yes, because he's a smart guy, and he knows if I get caught, you're all fucked.
Yeah.
I need you to die. This is ridiculous. You have no chance. So the carriage is basically on fire, everything's going to hell, and they jump off, and just as they do, the werewolf leaps at Van Helsing, he shoots it, and they sort of roll off together.
Yes.
Onto the ground, and the carriage explodes. For some reason?
Can't remember.
I don't know. Maybe it was full of absinthe too.
I hope no one's chasing after him still after this, because if they're on foot now, that's going to make things a hell of a lot harder for them.
Well, there's still one bride and...
No, I know.
Yeah.
It'd be terrible if something happened to them whilst they were walking.
Yeah, yes. So Anna finds Velkin, who's been shot and dies, because he's been shot with silver.
Yep.
And Van Helsing, it's revealed, has been bitten, or at the very least scratched.
Oh, no.
Now he's got the curse of the werewolf. And Anna sort of backs up, and Alira fucking decks her and steals her. Flies over this chasm.
Yep. Into what city do they fly to?
Budapest, which we've both been to.
Budapest.
Yes.
We have.
Yes.
I didn't recognise it from the visual.
Yeah.
Because it just looks like a fucking city.
Well, there's a river and there's 2 bridges.
It's just a fucking city, isn't it? It's, you know.
Well, yeah.
You look at a certain part. Look at part of the Thames from a certain angle, and it'll look like that. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. So now things aren't going great.
No.
They bought some dodgy horses. Van Helsing's been bitten by a werewolf. Anna's been kidnapped. They go into Budapest because, I mean, I guess they have to because that's where she's been taken to. And Lyra pops up and says, Dracula wants to trade.
Yep.
We'll give you Anna if you give us Frankenstein monster, which he's not pleased with.
No.
And Joyce says, okay, but Van Helsing says, okay, but it needs to be somewhere public. And Lyra suggests that there's a masquerade ball for All Hallows Eve.
Yes.
Why don't we do it there? Like, okay.
Why the fuck not?
Yeah, they really should have. I don't think you should give your enemy control of the location of the trade. But they do.
Yeah.
It's been a long day.
I'm not entirely sure it has been a day actually, based on stuff. But carry on.
And Frankenstein's monster has a great line like, you've become one of the monsters you have so passionately hunted. I only hope those who hunt you have the same passion," or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Which is nice. A good elegant line. And he gets tranquilized. And Carl and Van Helsing drag him, presumably through the city, and dump him in a crypt, which is yet another kind of stupid place to do something, because they explicitly mention, well, just so long as the dead don't help him. It's like, I mean, they might. We know Dracula has, is undead, and he has a summer palace here, so it's not beyond the realms of. This is not a great place to put him. You could
really not
put him in a church or something. I don't know. And as they leave, we see a hand come out of a tomb and move the lid off, so we know, okay, that's not going to work. So it's time for a ball.
Yep.
And Dracula's dancing with Anna.
This is a point at which I questioned whether he'd considered just fucking a woman. According to my notes, this is the point at which I questioned that.
I don't know. I think that I don't know. It makes a sort of sense to me. I guess it's more of a possessive thing. I don't think it really matters.
Also, it's worth noting about a month has passed between the Bat Babies and this.
How do you know?
Because it was we witnessed a full moon in the night the Bat Baby thing happens, because she talks about it being the first full moon of Falcon, and that's why Evie can be saved now. Well, that's it.
All right.
And then he's got 2 days before the next full moon that'll turn him permanently into a werewolf.
Cool.
Which means it's just shy of a month.
Cool.
It has to be. It has to have been just shy of a month.
Yeah. So they're having the ball, and Dracula, he's sort of doing his trance shit on Anna, and basically says he wants her.
Dance.
Yeah, he wants her to be his bride, and dips her in front of the mirror, revealing that she is the only one in the room with a reflection. It's like, oh shit.
Maybe. I saw that. I thought, okay, one of 2 things has happened here. Either A, they've forgotten to put everyone else in, or B, everyone's a vampire.
Yes, or they bought.
And it's a nice little pre-reveal, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Maybe they bought a dodgy mirror from the same people who sold them those horses. I don't know. Yes. So Van Helsing comes in with Carl and figures out a convoluted plan where he's going to swing down and grab Anna, but he needs Dracula out of the way. So he gets Carl to push a fire breather on him to catch him with fire. And Dracula flies off with the guy, presumably killing him or beating him up or something. I don't know.
Don't know.
It's a kind of convoluted plan that maybe shouldn't really work, because there's no guarantee that half those things would happen.
No.
But Dracula swings down and grabs Anna and takes her back up. And there's a brief chat. Well, Dracula talks to Van Helsing. And then
he reveals that this is his summer house.
Yes. And then some kids which is actually the children of the director and I think the producer. They point out that they found the monster, and Igor comes in with Frankenstein's monster, and it's like, oh well, I guess the trade happened. So now that that's done, ladies and gentlemen, fill your boots, and everybody in there goes all vampire and begins chasing them, and Anna, her first instinct is to grab a weapon and is like, okay, let's fucking go, which I kind of liked. I thought that was cute.
Well, if only they had a nice, convenient weapon that could kill everyone that was chasing them.
Yes, it's nice that Carl figured out exactly at that moment what it does. Or what's it
out
for.
5 minutes earlier.
Yeah.
I don't care what anyone says. If it means taking down Dracula, I don't care if everyone else in that room dies because of it. Fucking do it.
Yeah. Well, presumably it must work on Dracula. Because he did...
yeah, you'd hope so.
Well, he wasn't... In the scene where the brides attack the village, he didn't go with them.
No.
Which may be that he doesn't want to personally risk it.
Reasonable.
So they detonate
What's the point of having underlings and doing the job yourself?
Well, true. He detonates it, and as they jump out the window, the light explodes and reduces every vampire in that building, including the kids, to ash.
You don't know how long those kids have been kids, so it doesn't really count.
Yeah, they've probably been kids for like 70, 80 years.
Yeah.
And Dracula, we see Igor's got the monster in the boat, and they escape and shut the gate behind them and head up to a ship where Dracula and Alira are. And it's like, fuck. And then it gets worse because Carl says he's telegraphed Rome, doesn't he?
Yes.
And Rome has said, you need to kill the monster.
And I have to kill you.
Well, he said...
Oh, no, he doesn't, does he?
Yes.
He doesn't mention...
Van Helsing,
he doesn't mention the werewolf.
Yeah, Van Helsing goes apeshit. It's like, did you tell them how to kill me? Did you tell them the exact measure of silver needed for each bullet? And Wes is choking Carl, and Carl's like, no, I left you out of it. Which is nice. So we're heading back, because now they've got the monster.
They've got 2 days to get back.
Yes.
Taking a month to get there, they've got 2 days to get back.
Yeah, they go to Frankenstein's castle, which is empty. Everything's been taken and moved. You know Dracula's got a place of his own, but we don't know where. They go back to Anna's house to sort of figure it out. And there's a good bit of exposition. So the gist of it is, Dracula is the son of the guy who made this, Anna's ancestor who made this original promise. And he was murdered. And then he sold his soul to the devil. And his dad was so aghast that he exiled him to some place, somewhere that nobody knows. So he could never return. And then the devil gave him wings. But we don't know where this...
Hang on, it's the devil a Red Bull advocate?
No, it's devil.
Okay.
Yes, so...
Don't play along.
All right, yes, the devil gave him wings. Yeah, it's Red Bull.
We're sponsored by Red Bull, didn't you know?
No, shit. Yes, Red Bull. It was definitely Red Bull.
Yeah, spoiler season. We're not actually sponsored by Red Bull, but I just wanted Ben to join
in. Yeah, so...
Wait, Ben, if you're listening, you should totally sponsor us.
Yes, please do.
I'm drinking a Red Bull right now.
I'm thinking about it. Was it good?
Is it? It's actually a Coke.
Oh, shit.
We're sponsored by Coca-Cola.
Yeah, and at the beginning of the film, when Van Helsing was in Rome, he was given a little scrap of paper, wasn't he?
Yeah.
One of the ancestors.
Corner of a scroll.
Yeah, one of the ancestors left it. Nobody knows why. And Anna's dad was staring at this painting for hours. And they figure out that that's a door. They mention that because Dracula has no reflection, and maybe that's because to him mirrors aren't mirrors. Which is the sort of thing that sounds like, oh, that's interesting. Until you're like, but no other vampire has a reflection either.
Well, not only that, but there's nothing else actually gets done to prove anything about this.
Yeah.
He doesn't do anything with a mirror.
Yeah, it's like, does that mean every mirror is a door to him? Can he just walk through mirrors? It's a sort of thing that sounds interesting. It's like, oh, that's a cool interpretation of the law. Until
if you're doing your hair, not
it.
you personally, if someone was doing their hair in the mirror, not you because you ain't got any,
I haven't got hair to do.
Would he be able to reach through, grab them, and pull them through the mirror so he's got a quick snack?
I don't.
If so, that's another reason for me to not eat, to not do me hair in the mirror.
Yeah, I don't know. As I say, it's a sort. It sounds interesting until you start thinking about it.
Yeah.
So they go. Oh, go on. Sorry.
Yeah, no, we put one of them puts their hand through, and it gets really covered in snow.
Yeah.
Pulls it back, fucking cold, bloody blah. Then they all go through bit by bit, and there's not as much snow on them as I would have thought, considering it's not as snowy as it should be based on that small bit of snow that we saw. But yeah, they find his tower, and they bump into
Igor.
Yeah. Well, two things. Well, three things. One, they see some more drippy egg sacs, and there's fucking thousands of them.
Yeah.
So don't shoot till you see the whites of their eggs.
Yeah.
Two, they see Frankie.
Yes.
Who's like, save yourself to Helsing.
Yeah.
Find the cure, save
he
yourself.
He does have a cure, it's
nice
not just a rumour, yeah.
Yeah, and also, good job he doesn't, but we'll get to that. And number three, they bump into Igor, and they have a wonderful thing. It's actually something that appears in one of the films that we're going to be watching from my list.
Oh, lovely.
We get the "I'm not going to help." He gets threatened, and then he helps.
And then he's like, "There's so many funny little lines." Like we meet Igor, they find Igor, and he's like grumbling about Dracula ordering him about, and then Van Helsing pins him to the wall and grabs him, and I think Igor says, "Please don't kill me," and Van Helsing says, "Why not?" And Igor's like, well, you can't think of a reason.
Which is fair.
And then, as you rightly pointed out, it's very well played and delivered. Van Helsing says, "You're gonna show him where the cure is." "No, I'm not. You're gonna do it, or I'm gonna cut off fingers." "Yes, I am." You know.
Yeah.
He gets forced.
I'll show you where the cure is.
Yes.
He gives Anna the device, but it looks a bit like a cigar cutter, but longer.
Yeah.
And she totally is going to cut his dick off if he doesn't help.
He says if he doesn't cooperate, clip off one of his fingers. She says, "I'll clip off something."
The implication is it's got to be his dick. Which she's talking about there.
And as you said, we do get old Frankie M. He's in a block of ice.
Yeah.
Which is a reference to, I don't think it's the first Frankenstein movie, but it's I think it might be Bride of Frankenstein, where he's in a block of ice. Which, I mean, it doesn't make a lot of sense in the world of the film, because they've just got to defrost him again once they get him up. I mean, it's easy just to put him in chains.
Yeah.
It's purely a reference.
Frankie in chains is...
But I like the visual. So they're splitting up, aren't they?
Yeah, they smooch.
They do
really
smooch.
Fucking awkward minute and a half of them just stood there, sort of not quite talking or saying an awful lot. Like, we got a big time limit on this thing that we need to do. Because what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go and try and fight Dracula because we think a werewolf's the only thing that can kill him.
Yeah, never explain why. I don't know why. There's no explanation why a werewolf is the only thing that can kill Dracula.
But like a werewolf is the only thing that can kill Dracula, so I'm going to turn into a werewolf, kill him, and then you're going to have until the last stroke of midnight to save me.
Yeah.
With the cure. That's the plan. We've got this time-sensitive thing we need to do, so let's stand here for a minute, not kiss, sort of move. No, actually, come back and have a kiss.
I think they have good chemistry throughout the film, and I might be alone in that, but I like their relationship. I like a lot of things about this film that a lot of people hate. I'm a real outlier on this one. But yes, they go into two different towers. One is where the experiment is happening. One is presumably like Dracula's personal quarters, I guess, because that's where the cure is. It makes sense to keep it close to him.
Might just be storage.
Maybe it's just like a big warehouse tower. I don't know. But Igor leads them up there, and apparently originally the plan was that the cure would be guarded by the creature from the Black Lagoon.
Oh, okay.
Which would have been interesting.
Just throw all the old Howard.
Yeah, but it is like, I don't think you need to throw another character in there.
It stopped snowing. It stopped snowing and started raining instead.
Oh, fair enough. Well, I mean,
just something I noticed.
Lightning storms are very convenient in this film. There's always one when they need
a lot of them. Yeah, there's also a werewolf transformation whenever they need one as well.
Yeah, yes, they're. My sort of interpretation of that is they're sort of summoning the thunderstorm. The Frankenstein has equipment that sort of does something to the atmosphere to create the conditions where a thunderstorm is more likely. That's my way around it.
That's a headcanon that works. So
Yeah.
fair enough.
So Anna goes in to take a close look at the cure, and Carl walks a bit forward, and Igor pushes him in and locks him in the room, and then says, "You tried to get Igor, but Igor get you," and he's so happy, and he runs off, presumably to tell Alira because she shows up not too much later. And they say, "I'm not touching that," and Carl says, "Don't be the first person to put your hand in a viscous liquid."
Yeah, fair enough.
Which is a good call because Alira shows up and scares them, and they push the jar on the floor and it splashes and it sprays her with acid and she gets all sort of fucked up.
Yep.
And
temporarily.
Yeah, Anna uses the acid to melt the bars, and Cole gets out of there with the cure. And then there's another line I really like in this film. Alira grabs Anna and pushes her around and says, "You can go when I say you can go, and I say you can go when you're dead." Which is one of those lines that sort of doesn't make a lot of sense. It sort of sounds like something you say when you're...
It's a clunky line.
It's sort of line that says you say when you're really angry and you're not really thinking. You know, I like it.
Yeah. I thought I'd forgotten about it, but you repeating it, it's a clunky line.
I like it.
Yeah, they're having a little fight. Carl's running away, and also Van Helsing is fighting Dracula.
Well, he sort of saves Frankenstein's monster a bit, but not in time for the 2 lightning strikes needed to bring the kids to life, and they're all flying about and heading towards civilization. And he's fighting Dracula now.
Dracula's turned into his monster form.
Yes, and Dracula.
We finally see it.
Yeah, which is a good design. You know, big demonic bat thing. And Van Helsing is a werewolf, and Dracula's a bit surprised by that, and they're fighting. And there's some back and forth. It's revealed that Van Helsing was the person who murdered him, and he's sort of the left-handed god, and maybe the angel Gabriel, I guess. I don't know. It's hard to say.
It's called Gabriel, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nothing... or rather, he keeps being called Gabriel.
It's never revealed. And it's sort of implied towards the end that Van Helsing has sort of stopped caring because Dracula offers him answers and Van Helsing sort of rejects him. Which would be an interesting arc that, Van Helsing decides to let the past be the past and it doesn't matter and what matters is the future or whatever. But it's never really played with. In that sense.
What is this? For Lion King? Yeah. Who is this fucker? Rafiki?
Well, we do see... Well, later on, we do get a Mufasa in the clouds.
Don't even. Yeah. I literally wrote, now he's hallucinating some Mufasa cloud shit.
Well, so while that's happening, Alira is fucking about with Anna. And there's a scene that's kind of fun where Anna sort of jabs a lit torch in her face and Alira just blows it out and starts laughing and
blows out all the others.
Yes. And she's just about to bite her and says, "If it's any consolation, I'm going to weep over your body," which again implies some sort of relationship there, which I think is sort of interesting. And just in time, Frankenstein, who was sort of swung about... Oh, we've missed a bit.
We have missed a bit because Carl is trying to cross the bridge between these 2 towers.
Yeah.
And Igor has got a cattle prod of some sort.
Yes, that he was using on the werewolf earlier.
And is trying to torment Carl with it.
Yeah.
And stop Carl from getting there. Frankie, who has been saved enough by Van Helsing, ends up swinging in, I believe. And the rope swing fit. No, he slips, doesn't he? He slips and he keeps grabbing them and they keep breaking and he ends up managing to be on one that is sort of the rope is across the it's a wire, I assume.
Yeah.
It's really strong fucking wire.
Yeah.
It's managed to straddling the bridge.
Yeah.
But also he's hanging off the bridge. So he's swinging and Carl dodges the thing and Igor gets hit by the thing and falls off the bridge.
Yes.
We see him fall, but do we see him die?
It's implied.
There's a lot of implications to these things.
It's implied.
Van Helsing 2, Igor's Revenge.
I am comfortable saying Igor falls and dies.
It's supposed to be read that way.
Yes, and Carl helps him because Frankie M is caught and just sort of hanging there. And Carl says, "You're supposed to die. I'm supposed to let you die." And Frankie M says, "But I want to live." And Carl...
he just helps him like that.
Yeah,
no question. Well, he just does it.
Yeah, I mean he's clearly conflicted about it. and he,
Yeah.
you know,
It doesn't take a lot of persuading.
well, he had a bit of a bonding moment before in the carriage when he lets him out and they both help, and there's like a moment of recognition between them where Carl realizes he's not just a monster.
Yeah. Or maybe not even that.
Yeah, and he pushes the sort of torch thing off, or the fire pit, whatever, and swings. And Alira just
the geography of this doesn't work.
Doesn't matter. Alira is just about to bite, and Frankie M swings through the window and hits her.
Yes, it's worth noting throughout all of this, because the werewolf vampire fight has happened, we do hear the first stroke of midnight.
Yeah,
we do hear the clock. At this point, I hadn't heard a second stroke of midnight.
No, I sort of lost.
All this shit has happened.
I always sort of lose track of that sort of plot line.
I made a point of
you've only
saying,
got so long.
where's the second chime? Because what they do is you're gonna hate me for bringing this up and making a point of it. They bring a time limit into play,
Yeah.
and then don't stick to it at all. Don't do something as so obviously trackable as until the finishing of until midnight, when we and have a start point demonstrated to us of the first stroke. When you could do something much more arbitrary like sunrise.
Yeah, what they should have done was say, okay, during the first full moon,
Yeah,
the werewolf has a great deal of control over himself, right?
Yeah.
But not only is the werewolf able to kill Dracula, but Dracula is able to kill a werewolf. That's how you explain it. They're both. I don't know how you do that, but you set it up so that okay, this is a fight, and Van Helsing can easily die just as much as Dracula can in that moment. So you remove the pressure and the time limit, so you're allowed to play about with the other stuff. I agree.
And then the time limit is more for the cure.
Yeah.
Anyway, at this point, and again, like I say, because they say by the last stroke of midnight he needs it. They put this time limit in that they have no way of possibly sticking to, and they clearly haven't stuck to. Game over as far as I'm concerned. By the time Frankie's halfway across that bridge, and it's too late to save him. You know, it's a fucking long time. We're talking. I mean, my note is how long until the second stroke of midnight was at 21:35. At 21:39, still no second chime on the clock. You know, there's time. There's time where there's none of this. They forget about it. They don't care. They put this thing in. It wasn't necessary, and it's conspicuous by its absence.
I agree.
You know,
I agree. There's a better way to handle it.
Yeah.
So yes, Frankie M holds back Alira, and they're sort of fighting amongst themselves. She gets out there with the cure. No, she doesn't have the cure. She gets out of there and she swings across or something, and Carl manages to throw the cure to her.
I just want to say everyone's so good at fucking catching.
I know. I was thinking that, like, what the fuck is he? Is some sort of fucking American football player? Is he OJ?
Everyone's good at swinging. Everyone's good at swinging, and everyone's good at catching.
Yeah. And she's still swinging across, and Alira has managed to break free, and flies and knocks her out off the thing and hits her against the wall, and she barely scrambles on this ledge. And Alira lands next to her and says, "It's your blood that's going to keep me beautiful throughout the centuries. What do you think of that?" And then Carl presumably throws the stake to Anna. She grabs it and runs it through Alira, and she says probably one of the better lines in the entire film. "I think if you're going to kill someone, you should do it. Don't stand around talking about it."
I meant, is that before or after she stabs her? I can't remember.
She stabs her and then she says that and then she explodes.
Okay, yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Because obviously, I wrote what a waste of good breasts at this point.
Well, of course you did.
Because Alira's got she's a sexy woman. The actress is a sexy woman, and they're all a bit busty. And the cleavage is out on all three of them. You know, it's worth noting that.
Yes,
it's something I clearly wanted to present.
Yes.
It would be a shame of us to not mention it.
Yes. So congratulations, you three ladies and your breasts.
Yes.
Well done.
All six ladies, might I say?
Yes.
Still no, like I say, still no second charm on this clock.
Yeah. So that's your fun line, and it's a line that could be used in so many films. Like, don't just fucking get on with it. This is your fault, and I'm glad they sort of draw attention to that. So Dracula and Van Helsing are still fighting, and I think at that point, Van Helsing does bite Dracula.
Yes.
Dracula sort of offers him, join me, and together we can rule the world, sort of thing. I'll give you your
No,
memories
I am
back.
your father.
Yes, I'll give you your memories back, and can I have my ring back? And Van Helsing has his ring. I don't know why he cut off his finger and took his ring.
Yeah,
Yeah,
fuck knows.
I love this movie. There are problems. Um, so Dracula is bitten and he shrivels up and dies, and with him, everything created by him also dies.
Yep,
So
all the back kids.
yeah, presumably every vampire in the world is now dead because I guess Dracula
Yep,
was the genesis of it. So a good deed has been done, and then Anna runs in with the cure, and
yep.
and I guess it's not especially clear, believe it or not.
No, no, it's not, is
But
it?
my interpretation, I guess, is that Van Helsing has now lost control of himself because the
Okay.
time limit has passed. She's just arrived too late, and he attacks her, but she manages to inject him as he attacks her. And then Carl comes in with the
Yep,
stake and runs to kill him, and Van Helsing, werewolf form, grabs his arm and reveals that he has been cured, and then
yep,
turns into a person again
yep.
and puts her on this wonderful spine couch thing, which I really like. Um, One of the things I want to mention is that I don't really like a lot of the set designs for this castle. I think you could do a lot more interesting stuff to distinguish it and make it like interesting.
Yep.
There's not. I mean, it's bigger, you know, but I don't know. It needs a bit more. It's just sort of a generic evil castle there. Um, so Anna is dead,
I know.
but so's Dracula. And
Hooray.
in the next scene, it's her funeral, and they've taken her to the sea, which is really nice. And they're cremating
Yep.
her. And Frankie M.
Frankie's on a boat.
Yes, they decided to let him go, which I think is the same way the book ends, where Frankenstein's on a boat just going off to pastures. I think he goes to Antarctica or something.
Oh, wow.
I hope he doesn't run into a storm because he's fucked. Um, so they cremate her and give her a funeral, and then Van Helsing looks in the sky and sees her with her family.
Ah, Simba.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's a nice little touch.
Oh,
And
I thought it was fucking awful.
and then they ride off, and yeah,
What a bullshit thing to have in this totally realistic film.
your immersion has been destroyed.
Yep.
I just want to say I really like
What is
them.
he? God's. What is he? Meant to be one of God's angels or something?
I really like the music in this film. I didn't really say earlier, but I do really like the score. But yes, that's Van Helsing.
I thought there was a lot of Arabic undertones to the music.
Yeah, there was a bit. I mean,
The transition music, at least.
yeah, the music's by Alan Silvestri,
Yeah, he does a lot of music, though, doesn't he?
who also did the music for Back to the Future and stuff like that. So
Yeah, yeah.
he's got.
Like I said, he does a lot of film music.
Yes. So I know you don't like this film as much as I do.
No, my general feel is it's a crap film, but if you're not, if I stand by it, it's been my thought throughout the entirety of it.
Hmm.
It's fine if you don't take it seriously. If you are treating it as the schlock that it is intended to be, it's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah. That's sort
And
of
that's the
works for
truth of a
it.
lot of films.
I mean, that's sort of that is the truth of it. It is schlock. It is.
Yeah,
It's a fun action film that harkens back and pays homage to the old monster movies of the 30s. And I think it does that well. And there's some smart stuff in it. Like I like the way it ties in with Dracula to Frankenstein, and I like the characterization of the brides because they get a bit more to do. The music's great. Hugh Jackman's a good lead. I like the stuff with Anna and her family and this stupid fucking deal her ancestor made. The performances are good. The stuff with Van Helsing's memory is not fulfilled at all. There's a lot of problems with that. The werewolf stuff needs to be tied in a bit better. But I do really like it. I don't know, maybe it's a guilty pleasure, but I think it's a lot better than a lot of people give it credit for. It's good, fun action adventure schlock with some smarter things that I think it deserves a bit more credit for. So yeah, I like it.
that's right.
So yeah, um, we're gonna be doing more of these, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. We've well, as we said earlier, we've got 3 films each.
Yeah, we've had my first.
This is your first. I'm not picking my.
Oh yeah,
film.
that's right. I've got to pick.
You're going to pick number 1, 2, or 3.
Okay.
I have written them in a particular order.
Okay. Oh,
which number do you want?
It's not it's not the Lord of the Rings trilogy. We're gonna watch.
No, because I'm not gonna make you. A, they're not part of the series.
Okay.
And B, if I was going to do that, I would absolutely make you watch them in a sensible order.
I pick number 1.
Well, that's a. I was so tempted to make you watch Rogue One 3 times just to.
I'd have killed you.
Yeah, you'd have had to catch me first.
Not difficult.
Movie 1, you say?
Yes.
Galaxy Quest.
You know, I thought he would pick Galaxy Quest.
Galaxy Quest is one of my favourite films that I never watch.
I am so down to watch Galaxy Quest because I love it too.
Yeah, it's a fucking good film.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's our next one. So hang about. I'm assuming next week.
Yeah.
We'll be doing that again. I need to find out how and when I'm going to watch it, but I will be watching that at some point. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I
did think last night, could he have chosen Galaxy Quest? I thought it's a pretty good guess for him to choose that. I was like, yeah, I'd be so down to watch Galaxy Quest. So
it is one of my 3 films, and yeah. I worked out all 3 of them were almost on the same. Like within 5 minutes, I worked out what these 3 films were going to be. Yeah. And Galaxy Quest is a particular genre.
Yes.
And all of these films sort of skirt that genre.
Okay, so they're all sci-fi adjacent. Okay, well.
Oh no, they're all comedy.
Oh adjacent. Right, I see. Okay.
Comedy or adjacent.
Well.
I need a laugh these days. I don't watch enough funny stuff.
Yeah. Well, thanks very much for joining us, and we'll next week we'll talk about Galaxy Quest.
We will indeed. Join us for that.
Bye.
Oh, and at some point this will end. Hang on. At some point this will end up on Spotify. When all 6 of these are sorted, I'll probably space them out over 2 weeks, and then because we've got. I'm going to work out the Doctor Who stuff next.
Yeah.
I might do the first series of that, or might just do the specials first and leave a little break, and then these, and then do the first season, and we'll work it out. It's a key thing, but keep an eye out for us there as well.
Okay. Bye.
Bye everyone.
Bye.